All right, so let's get into it. Ego. What is the ego? Ego is your mental mind. Ego can be something that is of wonder, something that is like we want to control. Ego can be conditioned beliefs, conditioned behaviors. Ego can be so many amazing things, as well as so many frustrating, annoying things. So let's get this started. Hello, everybody. This is your life coach, Tammy Ward, coming at you from the Embrace Life Boldly podcast. And today I just want to discuss ego with you. I want to discuss ego because I think there's a lot of it that a lot of people don't really realize what it's all about. And perhaps they're being taught or they hear something in the societal, I don't even know what to say there, societal social media, societal words that people should stop their ego, or they're egotistical, or they're arrogant ego, all that other stuff. And really, this is what I have to say about it. So a lot of light workers, spiritual workers, such as myself and others, have you ever wondered why we're always asking you guys to begin to heal your inner child, right? Or at least connect meditatively on your inner child to be able to heal inner child stuff. I mean, because a majority of us, myself included, has had trauma from our childhood, either it be from a sibling, from parents, from middle school, from a family member, fill in the blank, right? There's some trauma from childhood. And when I mean childhood, I'm not just talking about, infancy to like 9 or 10. I'm talking about childhood. Until your brain is cognitively developed to begin to make choices and begin to understand why you're making those choices, right? So that could be, for men, 25. For females, I don't know, say anywhere from 17 on, right? And sometimes we live in such a child mentality that we can always be in that state. So that's what I'm talking about. So it's important to check in with our inner child, because the ego and the inner child are the same thing. They really are. And this is where I come to believe that. My thing is, any of you that have started off on a spiritual journey, we begin to gain awareness, right? And so for some people, they don't even have to go through a spiritual journey. They just know that they are aware of certain things. And the awareness ends up showing us all the shit talk, right? We end up giving ourselves, or the way we put ourselves in situations that feed our insecurities. Awareness is hard, but awareness is good, right? It's the most amazing gift we can give ourselves, because once we have awareness of who we are, how we act, when we act that way, what causes us to begin to act on ways that we don't like, or, again, feed our insecurities. With all that, there's many reasons of why we do that. First off, let's just go through that. The reason this process of awareness can start out so difficult is because we're gaining information about ourselves, right? We're gaining that information on, oh shoot, I did not realize that when I'm around Cindy Lou Who that I may act like the Grinch, right? I mean, we understand these things, it's kind of like in between the things that you like and you don't like about yourself. That's really what awareness is. And between those two things, what we're really battling with is our ego and our soul. So really, what you're truly battling with is like your mental mind and your spirit. It's like, how does your mental mind respond to things? To vice, how does your spirit want to respond to things? What is the best way for you to be able to present yourself to the rest of the world, and to yourself, most importantly? Let's not forget that. But gaining awareness is good, because it's actually the best form of therapy. Especially if you are in that transformation of creating new habits, shifting new different patterns in your life, that spiritual journey that I talked about earlier. And after a while, when you've practiced some awareness, or when you're gaining some awareness, and or you hang out with your awareness. That's what I like to call it. I'm like hanging out with my awareness. You realize that damn ego sure does talk a lot, right? Your mental mind, your monkey mind, it talks a lot, right? And who's listening and who's talking? Is it you that's listening? Is it you that's talking? I mean, I could say that if you guys haven't already, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. definitely has a great book out there called The Mystery of Self, and it's really huge on that. And I'm just saying the book is good. I'm not in any shape or form related to the person, or I'm like their sponsor, right? I'm just saying it's a good book for you to understand how the ego freaking talks to us and whether we are the one listening or the one talking. But anyway, I went on a rant there. The thing about it is that because we have developed the awareness after that practice, you see the ego is talking about how much pain it's really in, right? Everything from that conversation, from the awareness is really the ego. You come to realize you're just in a lot of pain, right? Whether from that trauma drama or from a situation that has happened that has you have attached to, whatever it may is, it's just that it's in pain. And the thing about being in pain is that it's comfortable with the pain. The ego is comfortable with the pain. And the thing about that first spiritual journey or shifting those habits or transformation is that you begin to understand that you're trying to be uncomfortable by shifting those patterns and transforming in that spiritual journey, right? Your ego and your spirit are at war with each other, at war with each other in that moment, right? I mean, it's just there. And it begins to fight with each other. And, anytime you want to shift or transform into something or someone else, even when you shift jobs or change jobs, or first you didn't have a baby and now you have a baby, or you weren't married and now you're married, or however in a relationship, however it is for you, your body will go through things, your mental mind will go through things saying oh my gosh, I'm not used to this, I'm not comfortable with this. And it will begin to bring up things that says, hey, this is wrong. You got to fight with this person because, they're cluttering the cabinet. And so instead of becoming at peace with it, right? Instead of becoming in that area of peace with things, we often are taught by society that we should shut our ego up, kill it off, don't pay attention to it. But I have to tell you, try as you might, you still need your ego. Because the ego, now listen real close to this, the ego is a consciousness created by your fight or flight system. All it wants to do is keep you safe. That's period, amen. That's all it wants to do. It wants to keep you comfortable. It wants to keep you safe. It wants you to not do anything outside the norm that you've already been doing, that you've handled your fight or flight system with. So when you start doing something outside of your comfort zone, like say public speaking or shifting bad habits into healthy habits, cutting back sugar, what else? Or not going out because you need some time, maybe sometimes you will tell your friends hey, I just don't want to go out tonight. I need some time to myself. And your mental mind, your ego might come up and say, oh, what are you doing? They're not going to ask you again. So if you don't do it now, it may not happen later, right? That's your fucking ego, right? That's your damn ego coming up, your monkey mind, your mental state from that fight or flight system saying, whoa, pussycat, what are you doing? You can't do that. You're not strong enough. You have nothing good to say about yourself. You're going to fail. So why try anyway, right? Your friends will never call you again, whatever it may be. So you really cannot kill your ego, nor shut it off. But the good news is, this is the great news. Excuse me. You can learn to reprogram it. And that's really the thing about life, right? You're always reprogramming, reparenting, things like that, Better yet, when we reprogram, you can heal. You can heal it by aligning yourself with forward growth. And that comes in the forms of actions, new thoughts, things like that. And one of those forward growth actions is chatting and healing, as we said, that inner child. And the reason why we want to go back to that inner child is because, again, the fight or flight system, right? These domesticated belief systems that was given to us, these societal acceptance that we were given as we're growing up in life, that is like the main reasons of why we want to be able to heal that inner child, because that healing that inner child will heal the ego. It will begin to bring awareness about, so the inner child will heal. It's the same thing as reparenting yourself. So, to learn to reparent yourself from the grown-up you, right? The grown-up you, and be the voice and do the actions of what you needed and how you needed it when you were a child. Because, face it, all of us kind of can go back to a situation in our childhood, whatever age that was, and just think, man, I wish somebody would have told me this. I wish somebody would have comforted me this way. I wish if I would have learned this, right? Stop wishing. Stop wishing coulda, woulda, coulda, had who, honey, and do it, right? Begin to reparent yourself by simply doing those actions and giving yourself that love that no one was able to as a child, or at least not in the way that you needed for you. You could have had the most loving parents upon this planet, but yet perhaps they didn't love you the way you needed to be loved. And that's the whole reason why we have love languages, right? And that's the whole reason why our love languages shift all the time. Now, for me, when I began to heal my inner child, I definitely needed to understand how to play. Outside with me in the early 80s, when I was a kid, I was born in 77. So, in the early 80s is when I was really a child. And so, we were just told to go outside, just be gone all the time. And we really didn't have that parental guidance. We didn't really have, any parent helping us not to have, Tim, Billy, Susie, and Mary punching us on the playground and we coming to help, right? That didn't happen. We had to figure that shit out. And so now when I began to heal my inner child, I had to begin to understand that, one, to be playful, and two, that being outside can be joyful. I could relearn. So what I did at first was I would take my inner child on runs with me. And literally I would have no music. I would just sit there and visualize in my mind that my inner child, say around 10, was running with me. And I would just begin to talk with her and say, look, this can be fun for us. We don't have to be like, oh my gosh, we can't run that fast, or people are chasing us, whatever it was. I just began to just be like, let's enjoy the nature. Let's enjoy the moment. Let's just enjoy moving our body and loving our body just as it is, right? No matter how heavy, how light, how athletic, how runner ability it is, just love, right? And just being playful, I then began to, just do little playful things with myself as an inner child, like, perhaps color or paint, or I like to play Connect Four, so I would just play Connect Four, right? Just those things. But I think that the most important part when I began to heal my inner child was just being able to teach her how to be safe in any environment. And what I mean by any environment is how to be safe in a school atmosphere, how to feel safe when around a bunch of people, because again, the healing of my inner child also had to do with the healing of my PTSD when I was in the military. Because when I was in the military, because my inner child was not healed yet, my ego was taking over in those time frames, and really just, it was really just destroying me on the inside, because no one had really taught me how to interact authentically as me in any environment. And so, because now I know, I think Brene Brown said it best when, I think it was Brene Brown, where she talks about how, like, I could be who I am anywhere I am, right? And that deals with a lot of inner child work. That deals with a lot of a lot of awareness, right? And so once that part of us begins to heal, that inner child, then our ego, because then we'll come from a place of saying, whoa, hey, I don't need to act that way. You know, I know that way comes from this past experience, and I don't need to be like that. And so I offer you just the thought of, you know, possibly just sitting around one day and write down a couple things that you didn't receive as a child, as a teenager, as a middle 20-year-old, right? Write those things down and see what it is that you can give your inner child to be able to help it, to be able to allow it to grow into the adult that you are, right? To reprogram it, to reparent it. So that way when your ego comes up and it says, oh my gosh, you're not worthy. Oh my gosh, you can't do that. Oh my gosh, this is new. What do I do now? Right? You'll have that foundation of strength within you to be able to come from a place of being like, okay, well, listen, I know I'm a little nervous. I know I'm scared. I know I'm not sure how it's going to go down, but at least I'm coming from my own self, and I know my own self now because I have healed my inner child, and I am now the person you see in front of you today, right? That doesn't mean you're not going to have bad moments, right? That doesn't mean you're going to have moments throughout the week, throughout the day where it's like, oh, what the hell? Right? You're going to have moments because, again, you cannot kill, you cannot shut out, you cannot do anything else with your ego, but perhaps just have that awareness of it and reprogram it. And really, that's what I know about the ego. No, I'm sure I'll do more podcasts about the ego or here on my YouTube podcast, however you're listening or watching more about it. But I'm just saying, just start. Have the awareness. Write a couple things down that you didn't receive as a child that you would love to have now. And if you're still a little confused about what that might be, well, then just write down like, you know, hey, am I a playful person? Am I a playful and kind person? Do I offer space for other people to listen? And do I offer space for myself to be my authentic self, right? And if you don't even know who your authentic self is, that's a great way to start, right? Write a little description of who your inner child is, right? Who were you as a child? Are you still the same person? Did you grow any at all? Or do you still hold a lot of those fears and doubts still in you? Just have that awareness. And you don't have to be going through a spiritual journey to do that. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, obviously if you found this podcast, this episode, then you obviously are looking for something. And so that's the greatest place to start. And yeah, that's what's up. And again, believe in yourself. Believe that you can do this. Believe in yourself in so many different ways that is beyond any belief system or any societal system has taught you. Okay? Until next time, keep loving, keep growing, and keep embracing life boldly.